Okay, so now that you have built up your basic set of slides, I'll take you through the process of actually using the program during a typical service. So here is the slides. I went ahead and kind of fixed up the lyrics, but the interface you see here, this is the preview area, as it says here, and this is the live area. So this is what is currently live. You don't see that over here because I have the show display hidden. So now you can see, here's a preview, and here's what's actually going out to the projector. And the way that you make this go out to the projector is you do this update, and then it updates that. These buttons down here you may use at times, not very often, but this is a way to switch it to black if you want. This is a way to kind of just pull up this logo. So this is the standard logo I have put up for our church. This is a background, so I think, for example, with timers, you can basically just turn off the timer or just go to the background. I'll show you that in a moment. And then this goes back to basically showing the media that you intend to go to. So let's look at a timer. So here's an example of a timer. It's running in the previews. It shows you what it will look like, but it's actually running down here. So once I'm ready, once it's 5 minutes to service, I click go, and then basically the image changes to where it has this timer. And so now this would be projected to the screen. So this is an example, I guess, where you could use this button where you want to turn the timer off for some reason, and this pulls it back up, and it's still counting down. In addition to the timer, so this is where the timer is controlled. So if you want to change it to a 30-minute timer or a 3-minute timer, oh, that didn't work right. So I find you have to do 0, then 3 instead of just 3. So that would change it to a 3-minute timer, but it hasn't been updated, so then you could update it. Now you have a 3-minute timer that just started. So that is timers. You move through the slides with page up, page down. That also is how the clicker works. So that will go through the slides, go through the songs. You can see here. Now, for some songs, you'll have the chorus, and they'll jump around, or they won't go exactly in the order of the song. And so instead of trying to scroll through, you can actually look here and say, okay, well, they went back to verse 2. Double-click on that, then it goes to the live. Or you go here, double-click on that, and that's the way you can try to keep up with the singers if they're not, strictly following that. Another part I didn't show in the initial video was changing the background. So obviously, or at least in my mind, you don't want to have the same picture for the background for all your slides. So once you're in the song here, you can go and select a different picture. I like the ones here from CMG Create, but of course you can use any of them. And basically that will just keep the same slide in the background. So if I go that, now that's live, you can see it over on the main screen there. So let's go to another song, let's say Jordan River. So now I'm over here, and it has that same song. Another option, instead of just a static image, is you can also do videos. So if you go up to the directory background videos, and then we can look at some of these. This is just some more interesting thing to have going on in the background. So if you update that, now you have this simple background. So you could do any video, you could do YouTube video, but in general you want to keep it simple so that it doesn't distract from the lyrics, because that is the goal, is the lyrics. So these are also, these ones are from RV Sampler. I think they came from ProPresenter, some stock ones or some ones you can get through them. But basically have all these different options here. So I would just say pick either a static image or a video for each of the songs. Helps break it apart to have simple things there. And then, of course, you want to be careful that you're not having something so complex that you can't actually read the lyrics or it distracts from the lyrics. So definitely check that out beforehand. And one last thing for the lyrics is you can also modify how they show up. So you can go to here to edit, and if you feel like you want more room or you want them to not fill up, you can change the font size. Of course, you don't want to make it too big to where it, sometimes they can overlap with the songbook number, so you want to avoid that. And there's a bunch of other effects you can do. Shadow, that's really not good, but you can change the font type too. So of course you could do some really weird ones for, like, I don't know, Halloween service or something. But in general, keep it, keep it something normal, not too crazy. And then updates it there. So now that we are operating it. So if you have something that FreeWorship can't do, like this free version, you can't look at web page. So one option, if you have this planned out beforehand, is to actually have a website in the background. So, I don't know here, maybe. So say you wanted to show this. So this would be an option, is you have this loaded up and ready to go, so that when you get to that point in the service, then you can unhide the display, or sorry, you can hide the display from FreeWorship. So that's one way kind of around that, if you need to do something that FreeWorship isn't built to handle. So I believe that's all the basics. Another thing that we're not using right now, but we will in the future, is what's called the stage display. And for this video purpose, I just have the main output screen as also the stage display. So I'm going to turn that on. And this is what ultimately we'll have as our confidence monitor display for the presenter, so they can see not just what everyone else sees, but also be able to plan ahead. So for example, when we get to the PowerPoint here, if we have, sorry, this is a little confusing with the two different, okay. So now I hid the other display. So now all we're seeing here on the second screen is what will eventually be on the stage display. And so this basically has the extra features of the time, and then it gives them a little bit of a preview of the next slide. In this case, just basically the title of it. But you see the number on the bottom right there, 5.1, 6.1. Some slides that have multiple features into them, like sliding in text and stuff, they'll have 7.1, 7.2, and it'll increment. So it's a little bit more information for the presenter. I guess the main thing is it gives them time. And currently, FreeWorship only does military time, so it doesn't do 12 a.m., 12 p.m. But for Sunday morning services, it's not going to matter. Okay, so I think that's all I want to show for the basics of how to operate FreeWorship. I showed earlier how to add songs and pictures. You can add videos to it. You can even do a video stream, which we're not using. Oh, and one other thing is transitions. So you can apply a single type of transition for the entire service. So you notice everything fades there. I'm going to show the main display. This is now on top of the stage display. And if you want to have various effects, such as that, we can do that. And basically, you can apply one for the whole presentation, but if you want to change it in the middle, you can click on it. You can't define a transition here of one type and a transition here of another type. That currently is done manually. So that is something you can play around with if you want. I think in general, I would suggest we just keep the basic fade. I feel like that is going to work out the best for us. Okay, thank you. That is the end of the video on basics of running FreeWorship for a service. Thank you.